In 1487, a book was printed that explained why women were more likely to serve the devil and how to legally destroy them. The Hexenhammer, formerly titled Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches, was not folklore, and it was not superstition passed from village to village. It was a manual, a procedural guide, a text designed to be cited in courtrooms, not whispered by firesides. Its author, Heinrich Kramer, was not an eccentric mystic or a marginal figure. He was an inquisitor whose authority had been challenged. Local judges questioned his methods. Clergy resisted his claims. The book was his response. It reframed skepticism as heresy and resistance as complicity. After its publication, disbelief itself became evidence. The Malleus did not argue whether witchcraft existed. It assumed it did, because scripture demanded it. More dangerously, it insisted that denying witchcraft was a greater crime than practicing it. To doubt the system was to side with the devil. At the center of the book was a claim presented as fact that women were more susceptible to diabolic influence, weaker in faith, more carnal, more deceptive, more likely to lie under oath, and therefore more likely to require coercion to reveal the truth. This was not incidental misogyny. It was the foundation of the argument. Women were not simply more likely to be accused, they were the expected subjects of accusation. The book laid out how trials should proceed, how testimony could be gathered, how rumor and reputation could outweigh material proof. Contradictions were read as guilt. Consistency was read as rehearsal. Silence was concealment. Confession was confirmation. Torture was not a last resort. It was a method of verification. Pain was framed as revelation. If the accused confessed, the system had worked. If they did not, the devil was protecting them, and greater force was justified. The process fed itself. Each accusation produced another. Each confession demanded names. Each new suspect validated the charges against the last. Innocence had no procedural meaning. There was no mechanism for release that did not reinforce guilt. The Church would later distance itself from the Malleus Maleficarum. It was never formally adopted as canon law, but it did not need to be. It was printed, distributed, quoted. Magistrates relied on it. Courts used it. Entire regions absorbed its logic and reproduced its outcomes. The Malleus did not invent witch hunts. What it did was far more effective. It standardized them. It turned fear into process, suspicion into paperwork, and theology into a legal machine that could function without restraint. Tens of thousands would die under systems shaped by its assumptions, not because everyone believed every claim, but because obedience mattered more than doubt, and procedure outlived belief. In the next episode, we'll move from doctrine to practice, from theory to outcome. We'll look at the most common reasons people were accused of witchcraft, ordinary behaviors, social positions, and accidents that became fatal under this system. Because once these rules were in place, you didn't need to summon demons to be destroyed by them. You only had to exist in a way the system could not tolerate.